feel like you're just not enough for the life that you want to live, for a project you want to create, for doing something that you want to do, or being in a certain way in the world, and you just feel like, oh, it's a nice idea, but I'm not smart enough. I'm not educated enough. I don't have enough credentials. I'm not young enough, or I'm not old enough. Either one of those can be good ones, right? I don't have enough time or enough money. How many times do we say that to ourselves? Oh, if I had the money, I would, or if I had the time, I would. So we have all these messages all the time going through our heads, and we're hearing them out in the world that would say, you're not enough in one way or the other. And here's what I have to say to that. You are enough already. I'm Brenda, Florida, life coach and lifestyle advisor. And we're here today to say enough already to those thoughts that would tell us that we are not enough. So I've been thinking about this a lot lately. It really started for me, the journey started for me on this concept of realizing how often I was feeling like I wasn't enough, something. Mine usually had to do with not being smart enough or educated enough or something like that. But whatever, take your pick. There's a lot of different ones to choose from. And I started realizing how insidious and how deep this was in me. Me, the positive thinker who usually, wants to say, hey, I can do anything. If I can, if I can dream it, I can be it. And all those great quotes that you hear. And yet I realized underneath that, I had these opposite thoughts and messages that were telling me, no, you really can't do that because you're not something enough, or you don't have enough something to do that. And I was like, well, that stinks. And so I started really challenging it. And one of my best ways to challenge something, little trick, it's very simple. I'm going to give it to you here today for free. You can use it all the time in your life like I do, is just challenging that thought by asking, is it true? I'm not smart enough to create the business of my dreams. Is that true? Well, of course, my habitual thinking that really was at an unconscious level for me, which it is for most of us, and only, sneaks out here and there, was that it was true, right? So I would, think, is it true? And then I'd be like, well, yeah, because this or that, or I've had this happen or that happen, and that proves it's true. I can't do that. I'm not, smart enough, or I'm not something enough. And, because your brain will always go find the external proof for your thought. Okay. So, and think about it in somebody else instead of yourself, if it makes it easier. And you look at somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, they're beautiful, or they're so handsome. And if you compliment them, they may come back with, oh no, my thighs are fat, or, something. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. They're beautiful and they don't even know it, right? So it's easier sometimes to see it in somebody else than it is ourselves. But I want you to think about that the next time you have one of those thoughts come up. Ask yourself, is it true? And then make yourself stop. So your brain may feed you, a bunch of responses about why that's true. But I want you to say, enough already. I want to look at this a different way. Is it really true? And usually you will find, as I did, a little opening for, well, I guess I don't know for sure that that's true. And that is what starts to crack open the door. So I'm so passionate about this topic because we're so limited by this. It's the underpinning of most limiting beliefs that you're not something enough. You're not, I'm not good enough is a great one, right? That covers everything. I'm just not good enough. I'm not worthy enough, whatever. And so they're such drivers behind every limiting belief that we have. I'm really excited to be working on a program that I'm going to call Enough Already. And we're going to delve into these kinds of limiting beliefs, and really I'll work there on the super specific how to both identify them and sort of disempower them, and also work towards our dreams. Because it's only when we're working towards our dreams that these limiting beliefs come up. As long as we're living in a limited life, they're pretty happy. But once you say, ooh, I'm going to go for this, or I'm going to try that, or I'm going to expand myself to believe I can do that, well, then they start going crazy. So look for more on this topic in the future. But for today, just be willing to ask yourself that question, is it true? And then share with us in the comments below how that worked for you. Were you able to stop those, the chatter in your brain that's telling you why you're not smart enough, or you're not pretty enough, or you don't have enough money, and really get to the core of, is that true? Is it absolutely true? And find that little crack that would say, maybe not. Maybe I could something, take action towards this, or think about it this way, and just open that door to the infinite possibilities that are truly out there. I'm Brenda, Florida, and thanks for being with me on the journey to live lavishly.